Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Fascinating case a lot of people sent me regarding a cloned Corvette. Florida man sues after learning his 1962 Corvette may have been cloned in Texas. Stories by John Wayne Ferguson out of the Houston Chronicle. And so a man bought a classic car nearly 20 years ago, and it's turned into a clone saga. Last year, he turned to a federal judge in Texas to ask the court to declare his classic car, a 1962 Corvette, the real deal, and to clarify that another car out there with an identical vehicle identification number is a fake. And so what often happens is someone has a car and the VIN would reveal that it's stolen perhaps. So what they do is they get the VIN off another car, they put it on this car, and they get the paperwork to match it, and they sell the car back into the stream of commerce. That'd be a cloned vehicle. And there's a bunch of other things going on in situations like that. And I've heard it happening with modern cars, but also to have it happen with an old car, well, here you go. I think it's less common. At least I've not heard of it as many times in this field. But so we got one car in Florida, one car in Texas that both bear the same vehicle identification number. Now, people are going to say, Steve, is it possible that the factory screwed up on this? It's possible, but there's ways to double check this. So we'll get there. The man sued two residents of Montgomery County in the Southern District of Texas federal court. His lawsuit claims that a Corvette owned by those two is actually a copy of his car. He's seeking damages and argues the existence of duplicate vehicles could cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars if he tries to sell. The loser has to go to their state police and have a whole new VIN issued for the car, and that ruins the value, says a lawyer representing this man. It's no longer a collectible item. And so, again, keeping in mind that vehicles get a VIN attached to them, figuratively and literally, and that VIN identifies the car. If there are two cars out there with the same VIN, presumably one of them is fake, and that fake car, to work its way back in the stream of commerce properly, would need to have the new VIN assigned to it, which can be done. But once you've got the new VIN assigned to it, trust me, collectors are going to go, there's a problem with this car. So a lawyer representing the couple couldn't be reached for comment. The lawsuit's currently in mediation, which is a period where both sides are supposed to get together and see if they can work out the problem. If they can't, a trial has been scheduled for next year. So this man says he bought his car in Massachusetts in 2006. He discovered the existence of the second Corvette in 2022 when he moved to Florida, because when he got there, he found that another Corvette had already been registered in Texas. So apparently he goes to the DMV and says, I need to, register this vehicle here. And they say, our computer system tells us that this VIN already exists in Texas. So vehicle identification numbers are supposed to be unique and are used, among other things, to track the provenance of a car as it changes hands over time. Now, I have seen situations where a VIN had a mistake in it. Extremely rare, but it can happen. So this man alleges in his lawsuit that the duplicate numbers are more than just a paperwork mix-up. He says he believes that someone built the Texas car with the intent to deceive and somehow just slapped this VIN on there, and the VIN is the one from his car. As evidence, he pointed to the low mileage in the Texas car, which supposedly only has 1,200 miles in its odometer. His claimed original had more than 56,000 miles on it when he bought it. Now, it's possible a car sitting in a museum or a collection might not have many miles on it, but it makes you wonder. An expert hired by this man concludes that the Texan's car, the tag on it, was a counterfeit because it's made of aluminum rather than the original factory steel, and it also uses the wrong font. And there is a science to the VIN tags. And I'm here to tell you that there are people out there who know this stuff. And you don't want to tamper or mess with a VIN tag. The Texas couple has denied any wrongdoing. They said they bought the car at a Mecum car auction, and they provided the court with receipts. So the interesting thing is, I'm not sure that the man in Florida is saying that that couple did anything wrong. But to clear this up, he needs a court order. So you file the lawsuit, and the interested party is the people who own the other Corvette. So he says he believes the couple registered their car in Texas and obtained a new title after he informed them of his suspicion. So he's accused the couple of disparagement of title, which is a form of slander. But you're not saying that somebody slandered you. You're saying they slandered something in a way that harms the title to it. The lawsuit does not accuse the couple of building the fake car. The FBI in recent years has warned car buyers about the potential of stolen cars being resold with fake VINs, but they've theorized that this car was built by a skilled car builder who saw the opportunity to pass it off as the real deal. So you find a car in a junkyard and you rebuild it, and you're like, wow, this car would be worth a lot of money if it didn't have that scrap title history to it. Oh, okay. So the attorney here is saying that usually it's an individual guy who sees an opportunity to make a buck. Said that while Mika may have sold the car, they're not named in the lawsuit, the company has managed to legally insulate itself from lawsuits involving inauthentic cars and acts strictly as a middleman. And so if you read the documentation at any auction like that, Mecum, Barrett-Jackson, there's a whole bunch of these auctions that handle collector cars. And the documents are going to say, all we're doing here is taking a car from here and selling it to somebody else on behalf of these people, okay? And so we're just doing this. If you want to go after somebody, you got to go after them. But the attorney here has a Pennsylvania law firm that specializes in litigation involving classic cars. He said cases like this are relatively rare, but not unheard of. There are some factors that make Corvettes more prone to cloning and fakes. He said Corvettes are extremely popular. Some collectors have created online lists of cars along with their VINs that were thought lost to junkyards and accidents. So hoaxers can use that list to create fake VINs. And there's some other stuff going on. But I can also tell you that on a modern car, talking about a car built and sold this year, the VIN appears in the car in a bunch of places. In the early 60s, it was not that common. That is, the VIN appears in a couple places. I wouldn't be surprised if on this Corvette it appears in 3 places. The VIN tag that's on the dash, the base, the A-pillar, and then possibly on the frame someplace, and maybe someplace else. So a lot of people who do stuff with the VINs routinely simply do the one that's visible, the base of the A-pillar. They ignore the other ones. So that would be the trick here, is to see if you can get to the other VINs on these vehicles and see what's showing there. The lawsuit argues that the duplicate VIN has clouded the title of the plaintiff's car. The expert's report says that the owner could lose as much as $110,000 in potential value in a sale if the car is not considered authentic. Following a status conference, recently the two sides were given until November to mediate their dispute, and if they can't mediate it, it will go to trial. And I'm telling you right now, one of these parties is going to lose because the odds of there being 2 correct cars with those VINs that just happen to match seems pretty slim, especially because this allegedly happened over 60 years ago. And for it to just pop up now does seem a little odd. So it's quite crazy. It's quite crazy. But yeah, and I've mentioned before, I've represented somebody who bought a vehicle that had been cloned, and the vehicle itself had been stolen. And then somebody took the VIN tag off and put a new VIN tag on, and that VIN tag was to a vehicle that, was a different vehicle. And there are a variety of ways to do that. I'm not going to get into them heavily here, but it happens. It happens. And so in my case that I handled, my client had bought the car from a dealership in Michigan. And when a dealership sells a vehicle, even if they sell it as is, they are still giving you a warranty of title. That is the idea that I'm selling you this because I own it, and once I sell it to you, you own it. Well, if the vehicle is stolen, the dealership doesn't really own it. They've got paperwork that suggests they do, but guess what? They don't, because they're in possession of stolen property. So Weird story. We'll see what happens. Florida man sues after learning his 1962 Corvette may have been cloned in Texas. John Wayne Ferguson wrote that for the Houston Chronicle. And I got to mention, a couple days ago, I apologized at the beginning of the video, and I was talking about trying to avoid a traffic control device. I said I've forgotten the name of the man who sent me the email. I said, if you're out there, send me a note. And the guy did. It was Dan. Dan was the guy who sent me the traffic control device avoidance question. So Dan, I apologize for forgetting your name that time, but I got it right now. I hope you saw this. Otherwise, questions or comments, put them below. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. There's never enough time to do it right, but there's always enough time to do it over.